Senator Romney's optimism about the chances of not defaulting this year. Having been very involved in the 2011 debate, I am much more worried that this time we will go over that cliff. Ms. Hopper, great to see you. Thank you for your work in Maryland. I'm going to start by questioning Mr. Zandi. I think many of us are grateful, Mr. Zandi, for sharing over many years your expertise on fiscal issues. If I could just ask you regarding inflation today. We know we still have work to do in the economy, but inflation has now fallen 40% compared to the peak of last year. It's at a 2-year low. Chairman Powell, Chairman of the Federal Reserve, was recently asked about what he thought the pressures on inflation were at the current time, and he indicated that in his view, it's not fiscal policy that's driving inflation now. Do you agree?
Agreed. I think the inflation we're suffering through right now is the continued fallout from the impact of the pandemic on supply chains, labor markets, and the Russian war in Ukraine and its impact on energy, food, and other commodity markets. And what's happened is those two shocks conflated and infected inflation expectations and wage and other dynamics in the labor market. So lots of reasons for the high inflation. At the very tippity top is the fact that we're still working through the fallout from those two massive shocks to the supply side of the economy. At this point, I don't think fiscal policy has played any role at all. Just one quick other point. If you had asked me that question back in 2021, I would have said fiscal policy, yes, is playing a role. But at that point, hard to remember back, that was deemed to be good inflation. We had been through a decade of suboptimal inflation. We wanted to see higher inflation. It wasn't an issue.
Let me, I've just, my time's running short.
Sorry.
I have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So I did see your assessment that if you actually passed the House Republican plan, we would lose 790,000 jobs in the economy. Have you had a chance to look at the Biden budget proposal and determine whether it would cause anything in that range of job loss?
No, I mean, they both have deficit reduction long run. Of course, the House legislation on the spending side, the president mostly on the tax side. But in the next, when the economy's, in the next year and a half, when the economy's incredibly vulnerable, the president's budget does not have the same kind of negative consequence.
Good afternoon, friends. It is happening right now, and they are finally doing it. President Biden and several other lawmakers are ready to close a deal on raising the debt ceiling. The president is insistent on getting a deal done this week. This move will continue to cover the cost of government benefits, such as Social Security. So my friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also friends, I will be announcing more winners this coming Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances, my friends, of winning the giveaways. President Biden, top Republicans and Democrats from Congress are set to sit down together to try and resolve a 3-month standoff over the $31.4 trillion U.S. debt ceiling and to avoid a crippling default before the end of this month. President Biden is calling on lawmakers to raise the federal government's self-imposed borrowing limit without any conditions. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has said his chamber will not approve any deal that does not cut spending to address a growing budget deficit. Biden is due to meet at the White House with Kevin McCarthy for the first time since February 1st, with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell. Top House Democrat Hakeem Jeffries will also join the talks. But the start of the active talks could soothe the nerves of investors, who last week forced the federal government to pay its highest interest ever for a 1-month debt issue. Republican Senator Thom Tillis told reporters, "We have a lot of frothy waters now. We have found areas of agreement and we have found areas of disagreement." Outside observers, including people who have participated in past fiscal negotiations and business lobby groups, have laid out a range of potential compromises, largely revolving around extending the debt ceiling past November 2024. Legislative standoffs are nothing new in a nation with deep partisan divides, where Republicans hold a thin House of Representatives majority, and President Biden's Democrats control the Senate by scant 2 votes. But the stakes of the debt ceiling standoff are far higher than debates about budgeting that have caused partial shutdowns over the federal government 3 times in the past decade. Kevin McCarthy has called on Democrats to either offer their own plan or pass a House-approved package, which would impose a sharp spending cut over the next decade, and also impose new work requirements on recipients in benefit programs. This is in exchange for lifting the debt ceiling by $1.5 trillion or until the end of March 2024. Biden, in March, proposed a budget that aimed to cut deficits by $3 trillion over 10 years by raising taxes on companies and individuals earning more than $400,000 a year. Right now, lawmakers face an uncertain deadline. The U.S. Treasury warned last week that it would be unable to pay all its bills as soon as June 1st, but possibly go for weeks longer. The Bipartisan Policy Center, a think tank that specializes in budget issues, is due on Tuesday to release its own revised forecast, which could further muddy the talks if it is later than Treasury's. The last time the nation got this close to a default was in 2011, with the same pattern of divided government, a Democratic president, and Senate with a Republican-led House. Congress eventually came around and averted a default, but the U.S. economy endured heavy shocks, including the first ever downgrade of the United States top-tier credit rating and a major stock sell-off. Worries about the standoff have already started to weigh on financial markets, but a default would have a far more immediate effect on the average American. Democratic Senator Tim Kaine told reporters the thing for everyday folks is declines in their retirement savings, increases in interest rates that could affect their monthly payments for cars or houses. It's just going to hurt a lot of people and hurt low and middle income people the most. That said, there is a real risk that Social Security and Medicare payments may be delayed in the event of a cash crunch. Delays could put people behind on a mortgage or other monthly bills, adding to the challenge of striking a deal. Kevin McCarthy agreed to a change in House rules that allows for just one member to call for his ouster as Speaker, which gives greater power for hardliners, including the roughly 36 members of the House Freedom Caucus. Well, my amazing and most awesome friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Monday. Thank you, dearest friends, for being here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners this coming Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances, my friends, of winning the giveaways.